I'd like to welcome my guests to this news review. Out of London, Ali Al-Faraj, political activist, and Saeb Shaath, author and Middle East affairs expert out of Belfast. Thank you both for being with us. Well, let me start off with Ali. Your perspective on this, because the U.S. president has hinted that perhaps Kuwait will be next, and then we're hearing various things, and we have seen actions inside of Kuwait. Your take on this? Do you think that Kuwait actually would make that move?
Thank you for inviting me. There is no doubt that the American administration is in rush to announce these new. Obviously, they are more. These relationships, they are not unusual. First, there isn't a war between the Gulf states and the Zionist regime. The war is actually between the people and Zionist regime. None of the people in Bahrain or in the Gulf area support such deals. These deals are also unknown because no one knows what is exactly in these deals. They are announced as a peace deal, but there hasn't been a war. So it's more of a coalition between the Zionist regime and some of the tribes ruling in the region. Obviously, there will be other regimes in the region joining because there is a huge pressure from the Trump's administration, so that there would be more support for the election in the coming few months. So this is not unexpected, obviously, for other regimes in the Gulf area that do not actually necessarily represent the view of the people in the region.
Saeb, your take on this. So tell me, first of all, do you think that Kuwait will also go the way of Bahrain and the UAE? And the consequences for these regimes, as far as their people, our guest in London said that there's actually differences in perspective between those regimes and the people, that the people of these Persian Gulf nations really don't want to have relations with Israel. How do you see it?
Yeah, the position of the people of Kuwait is strong against normalization. You can find that in the streets, and you can find that in the Kuwaiti parliament. Saying that, Netanyahu, when he was signing the peace deal with the Bahrain and Emiratis, he said this is a peace between the people, and this is far from the truth. First of all, there is, in a decision like that, people want to shift their political strategy totally from the enemy camp to become friends should be democratically decided through democratical tools such referendums. That easily can be done, and the people of Kuwait or the Emirates or that they can say yes or no for such a thing and give a mandate. This has never happened. These are peace between stooges of the United States of America and the region and the Zionist entity as a functioning state for that empire, the United States of America. And for the idea of the whole thing now, Trump wants to appear as a peacemaker before the second election because he's losing big time in front of the Democrats for a lot of reasons. Mismanaging the corona, mismanaging the economy, the violence against the black community, and the institutional racism in America. So he wanted to look in the international arena like he's a peacemaker and maybe nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize as well. This sort of thing, he used his own stooges to force such a thing, to tell a lot of the Jewish lobbies as well, who traditionally vote Democrats, now look what I'm giving Israel. Bring your Jewish voters and your influence behind me. This is one part. Saying that Kuwait practically is an occupied country by the United States of America since 1991, after the war which kicked Saddam Hussein's army from Kuwait. So the government of Kuwait in the will do as told by the United States of America, despite any cry out in the parliament or in the streets. These governments in Kuwait or in the United Arab Emirates or in Saudi Arabia or in Oman, all of them stooges of the United States of America, and all be used and now and the next move will be against Iran, definitely.
And Ali, do you think that this will backfire on these regimes as far as the people actually turning against the regimes themselves?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the gap between the view of the people in this region and the regimes is getting wider and wider. And sure, there will be more problems in the Gulf area. Just the other issue is wherever the Zionist regime enter, it creates chaos and it creates problems and civil war, and it creates assassinations of people. You know, a good example, Lebanon. When the Zionist regime entered Lebanon, South Lebanon, we saw there was an escalation of violence and civil war, etc. And there are problems because Lebanon is just next to the Zionist regime. So the Zionist regime, when it has the upper hand in a way of influencing even the internal affairs of these countries, then there will be consequences. And it's a dangerous game, to be honest, because the Zionist regime is not welcomed in the Gulf country by the people of the region. And they are coming against the will of the people in Bahrain or in these countries, the Gulf countries. So there will be more problems. We know that the Zionist regime has participated in the war against Yemen, and has participated against the war in Syria, and in supporting ISIS in Iraq. So we know the agenda of the Zionist regime in the region, but it only reflects how Americans are weak in the region. Because for America to rely on the Zionist regime to take a major role in the Gulf region is a sign of America becoming so weak that it would relying on Israelis.
Okay, all right. On that note, I thank you so much for being with us. We're out of time. I appreciate you both being with us. Ali Al-Faraj, political activist out of London. Saeb Shaath, author and Middle East affairs expert out of Belfast.